Hello and welcome to a new devlog video for Peasant Uprise. I want to invite everyone to join my Discord channel, which is finally fully operational. The link is in the description, so feel free to stop by and say hi. I have received quite a bit of praise for my 3D models, which I truly appreciate because I still feel like such a newbie at it. Maybe I'm doing something right, or at least my models have resonated with some people. Hence, in this devlog, I'm going to share my process for creating 3D models. The focus is not on actual sculpting, I'm just sharing my approach here. It is always a good idea to identify what items in the scene I may want to use elsewhere. In those situations, I like to create those models separately. What I want is really a library of objects that I can use to compose a final asset. Now, in this case of the altar, I have several needs, but I've decided that the candles and the book are going to be completely separate models, so I'm just going to focus on the altar. Be it a real life or imaginary item, it's always a good idea to look around and get some inspiration or guideline. In my case, I use at least one reference image as a guide. Although I tend to be creative and I don't really try to just copy the image exactly. But it does give me a good idea in terms of the overall shape that I want to achieve. A very important step for me before going to actual modeling is to visualize how I'm going to build it. What primitive mesh am I going to start with? Where am I going to extrude? Which different meshes do I see necessary for this model? Etc. I also like to think about cohesion as a whole. It kind of needs to feel right in with the rest of your models and overall art style. But what I'm really looking for in this step is to create a path of action. I'm going to start with a cube, I'm going to subdivide in this end, then I'm going to extrude a few times, then I'm going to go up and then down, etc. I used to get so burned all the time by building models that then I had to resize in the game engine, only to realize that a lot of the detail that I put in is barely noticeable once resized. Since then, I tend to get a good approximation on sizing and I apply it directly to the reference image. That way I'm building it in the correct proportions from the beginning, or at least close enough. Once I start modeling, my frame of mind is just to take it easy and take my time with it, but you also have to be smart about how you spend your time. Know your modifiers and add-ons that can greatly help productivity. In this case, I'm using a mirror modifier, so I only worry about half the object, which saves me a huge amount of time. Also, I like to mess around with the mesh, pulling or pushing one vertices. Sometimes you'll uncover some problems that way, like two faces on top of each other. There are a lot of things that are hard to see in the 3D application, so I also have made the point of constantly exporting the model so I can see how it looks in the game engine. Oftentimes, I'll see problems with normals, dimensions, and other things that I can correct early on. Also, when applying materials in a scene that has post-processing effects, it will not look the same way as it did in the 3D tool. For example, if you have color correction in your scene with a tint of yellow, that will impact how your model looks. By far, my best recommendation is to work on iterations. It really eases some of the pressure of achieving perfection on your first sitting. With each iteration, I set some goals that could be as simple as just some basic shape where I can start building a prefab and code. Other iterations could include adding detail, handling materials, etc. I normally leave optimization to the very end, but it is a crucial step. This is where I would try to reduce the polygon count, join all the meshes when possible, remove duplicated vertices, and also turn everything to triangles, which is what engines such as Unity requires. As I mentioned before, when modeling I like to work on individual items. What I call a composition is creating a game prefab and bringing the items I need to compose the final asset. This could also include other things beside meshes such as particle effects, animations, or lighting sources. Doing it this way may allow me to reuse the same composition elsewhere, but since it's not all the same item, I can still move some things around to make it look a bit different. Practice makes perfection, and this is so true in 3D modeling. I make a point to at least do some 3D modeling 4 times a week, and that's where the concept of working on iterations helped. Everything I've shown in this video I've done throughout a few days. It helps me to leave it and come back the next day and have a new perspective or idea. It also allows me to work in smaller chunks, where I work for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, just adding a little bit of detail here and there. This has helped me memorize a good amount of keyboard shortcuts and also techniques, which can be overwhelming for some programs such as Blender. To end, I just want to say that I'm learning new things as I go in Blender. It's such a huge application that it's very intimidating for beginners. If your process is different and would like to throw a few suggestions, please share in the comments. One shouldn't feel bad about using third-party models either. Developing a game solo is such a humongous project that you shouldn't feel bad to seek help. Only word of caution is that whatever you bring in the game, it needs to feel like part of the world. Mixing different art styles can have pretty bad consequences on the overall project, so be mindful of that. Quickly jumping on to the Q&A section, there is a question regarding the inspiration for the UI. Honestly, the UI is from a package that I purchased a while back that gave me the basic idea. Of course, I've taken the core files but then modified to my needs. But overall, since Peasant Uprise does have quite a few menus, I just wanted the rest to be as simple as possible. Next question is regarding grapes and wine. There are levels in the game which are mostly vineyards, where there will be grapes that can be gathered. Obviously, the markets also provide a good supply for grapes. Wine can either be produced in the wine press and can also be bought in the local markets. Feel free to post your question in the comments or hop into Discord and post questions, suggestions, criticism, or simply come to say hi. With that said, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next update.